The story begins in September of the year 1863 within the Ozark Mountains near the Missouri-Arkansas border. We meet a group of men waiting on someone named Jesse, but this person might be late because of the rain. One man would ask, why should they even worry about Jesse? He's just a plowboy. Another man says there's something special about Jesse. He's got fire in his belly, which could mean someone has a powerful sense of ambition or determination. Shortly after, they hear gunshot sounds. One man runs back to the group, only to find some men on the ground with their heads missing. They were attacked by a predator. It repeats these words, "Damn Yankees." We then see Jesse, who's traveling with some men to find Zeke and the others. Those were the men at the start of the story. They would arrive at the campsite, but only find bodies. Jesse believes Zeke and the others put up a fight. He tells his comrades, Bear and Neb, to circle to the left, while Jesse goes to the right. One man has a bad feeling about splitting up, but Jesse knows all three of them know the Ozarks very well. Jesse was confident in his knowledge of the wilderness of the Ozarks. He knew all the beasts within this land, both predator and prey. He saw bears, panthers, wolves, fearsome and dangerous creatures. But the most dangerous species is man. One scene shows us Captain Riggs leading a small group of armed soldiers. They're transporting a cannon, but the heavy rain has affected the ground to where it feels like quicksand. Before they can assess the problem, they are under attack. Captain Riggs gets taken out as the rest of the men run for cover. 2 hours later, the men are still hiding behind a rock. Lieutenant Hendricks then blames himself for what happened to Captain Riggs. He tries to retrieve the body, but gets shot in the left ear by someone watching them in the distance. He lays down and remembers his family, his father telling him that he was a fool to join the military, but he so wanted to prove to everyone that he could do it. But now he thinks he should have stayed home. His father urged him to resign, but he didn't. His father was concerned that his mother would not be able to handle the news of her son's passing. The other men would share stories of their life. One man was born on a plantation, and he never met his father. He ran away with plans to save up money and someday buy the freedom for his mother and sister. But that was 8 years ago. He's been saving money ever since, but it wasn't enough to set his family free. So when the war came along, he went to join, but he wasn't sure they would recruit color reds. So he signed up as a mule skinner instead. The army still took a picture of him in uniform, and it seems this scared the rebels, as later on they passed an order for any color red soldiers should be shot instead of being taken as a prisoner. As for a man named Dutch, he left his parents back in Dusseldorf, then traveled to New York to work with his brother Heinz in a bakery. One day, while drinking at the beer house, he was approached by a man who made him an offer. He knew a man from a rich family that would pay Dutch a large amount of money to take his place in the army. And so he agreed, as he wanted to risk his life for something important, instead of work like a dog and have nothing. His brother Heinz had a family to care for, so it was up to him to take the risk. Within an hour, he had the money for their business. When Heinz learned what Dutch had agreed to, he became upset. But it's too late. Everyone has something to fight for, either for themselves or the future of their family. One man says he heard of a story that a devil was brought to this land. Maybe that's what attacked Zeke and the others. Or perhaps it is the cannibal spirit. One man says he has seen things that were not of this world, but of the world of spirits. My people knew of the darkness locked in the heart of the Ozarks. The elders claim that there is a cave hidden away in the mountains that reaches into the spirit world. And when the moon is dark, the cannibal spirit that walks like a man but wears the face of a beast, finds its way up from the bowels of the earth, and prowls the woods, eager to slake its thirst for human blood. There was also a tale about the traveler. One night, he was going down the road. The only light he saw for miles was from a mountain cabin. He knocked on the door, and the family opened it. He was dressed in all black and was mistaken for a preacher. He said he was lost, cold and hungry, asking if he could warm up by their fire. He was invited inside and allowed to eat with them. By the time the family realized who or what they invited into their home, it was too late. The creature revealed its true form and intentions. And so, the devil burnt the mountaineer's cabin to the ground, and ate him, his entire family, and his mule, hair, guts, and all. And ever since then, folks keep clear of the woods on moonless nights, for fear of meeting hell come a-walkin'. One of the men then goes to see if it can find a way to free the cannon from the mud. Jesse should not be off alone. The Yankees could be waiting for them to move around. We then see the hunter appear by the cannon. As Jesse reaches the location of the cannon, the predator turns around to face him. Jesse sees this large creature before him. He runs off to tell the others. He meets up with the other men, telling them he's seen it. He saw what's hunting them like possums on a bright night, and it sure ain't a Yankee. They would meet up with the soldiers that were hiding from them earlier, and carrying a truce flag, they try to make a deal. These men want to team up with the soldiers because what they saw in the woods was no man. It took down their friends and took the heads. Whatever is out there, it's a lot worse than fighting each other. The predator tracks them down and opens fire. It takes down one of the men with a single shot. The hunter appears before them. It fires its weapon. As the men shoot back with their rifles, a firefight ensues between the two sides, and then silence. But they have a feeling what they just saw is still out there. The story shifts back to Clay County, Missouri, May of 1863. A group of Yankees would arrive at a home. They ask Jesse where his brother Frank is, but he does not tell them. So the men beat Jesse over and over. He would wait until he can hear them take off on their horses. He gets up and makes his way back home. As he arrives home, he finds that the Yankees have been to his home also. They tried to get Papa to tell them where Frank was, but he refused, so they hung him up and left him there. But thankfully, Jesse got there in time to save him. Jesse will vow to make the Yankees pay for this attack. He'll see it to himself. He hops on a horse and takes off. The story then goes back to September 1863. The group of men have set up camp, and talking about what they saw earlier, they don't know what the creature was, but it's clearly armed. All of them need to work together if they want to survive. And also, they were finally able to free the cannon from the mud. The men decide to split up, hoping to lure it back to the clearing, but as they go separate ways, one man is stopped in his tracks by Neb, aiming his gun towards him. The Yankee falls to the ground as the other man fires, taking down the bear behind him. The creature appears behind Neb and rips his head off quickly as the other man fires back with his rifle. Other men would show up and fire at the creature. As the previous man backs off, the creature then just disappears and the men run off. One of them says this creature can turn invisible. Back at the cannon, they realize the fuses are wet, so they won't be able to fire it more than once. They just better make sure they hit the creature with it. When the creature tracks down the humans, at first it stays back. It knows a trap when it sees one. But one man decides to sacrifice himself. Hendricks approaches the creature, sword in hand. He starts an attack, but his arm gets caught by the hunter. He then orders the others to fire the cannon while they still can. The blast hits them both. All we see is an explosion and smoke filling the air. The men wait for it to clear to see what happened. As the dust and smoke clears, the image of the creature is visible. It is still alive. One man would call out to the creature, saying that Lieutenant Hendricks was a good man, and he was proud to serve under him. He fires his pistol, hitting the creature, but also serving as a distraction. Meanwhile, another man sneaks up behind the creature, ramming a spear through its back and out its chest. As the creature lays there in pain, it pulls off its mask to reveal its true face to the men standing over it. One man pulls out a pistol and shoots the creature. It's over. After they killed the devil, there wasn't much else to talk about, so they buried their dead, or what was left of them, in weary silence. The only sound greeting the dawn that bleak September morn was that of shovels turning earth. Jesse's brother Frank would then show up with his men. He would ask for Zeke and the others, but Jesse tells him they're all dead. Frank thinks Jesse also has a prisoner with him. Frank also says they have orders to shoot the runaway, but Jesse aims his rifle at Frank and says he cannot let them do that. Jesse was raised to honor his debts to anyone, and after what happened, he owed these Yankees his life. He stands up for them, to not be harmed or taken prisoner. Frank and Jesse would ride a horse away from here and meet up with Shelby at the border. The other men would notice how much anger was inside Jesse. So young like that, it's so easy to lose yourself in rage and hate. But something tells me that no matter how long or how fiercely that boy fights, he's never going to be free of whatever devil is pursuing him. The end. And that was the story called Predator, Hell Come A-Walkin', released in 1998 by Dark Horse Comics.